day, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of Career Podcast for SA. I'm sure you've all seen opportunities online for you to go teach English in China. If like me, you might have been, if you're like me, you might have been a little bit skeptical when you saw it, especially with the shares that we've seen on social media of people's experiences with it. But today we've actually got a treat, which is someone who's done it successfully, really enjoyed it, and she'll be telling us about it today. So that if there's anyone else interested in such an opportunity, they know exactly what to do and how to go about it. Please help me welcome Thulisile.
Thank you so much.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well.
It's been a while.
Yes, it has been. Quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I think first and foremost, as I do with most of the episodes, do you want to take a second to just let everyone know who you are?
Okay, I always feel like that's a loaded question, even in job interviews, but okay, so my name is Thulisile and I am just a small town girl from a town in Mpumalanga called Barberton. So I came to study in Pretoria. I was studying human physiology for a couple of years. And I had a passion to go through to medicine thereafter. Things didn't quite work out, but my eyes had always been set on studying abroad. So I had an opportunity at that point to study medicine in China, which didn't quite work out. So thereafter, I just thought to myself, what other way can I actually still go to Asia? Because I always had a love for Asian culture, just traveling. So at that point, I looked at other avenues to actually go to Asia, and I saw this opportunity to teach English in China, which came about, and then I tried to pursue it as much as I could, and eventually it was successful, which I'm very grateful for. So yeah, that's how I got that.
No, it's good. And what would you say you did differently when you started looking for the opportunity, different to the people that talk about having bad experiences with trying to apply for that?
I think with anything, if you know people who are already there, always try to just ask for a hand. So I have friends, as I said, who when I was applying to study abroad, they already went to study in China. So they were studying in China, they had connections, they had friends who were teachers teaching English in China, and at that point when I voiced this idea to teach English, they referred me to people who were already doing it, and that was a great save, because at the beginning I was trying to do it by myself. It did not work out. I tried all the websites people recommend, I tried YouTube, I tried everything, all the avenues you think should have the good information. I didn't find anything that helped me until finally I was connected to someone who was actually teaching English in China, and that person put me on the right websites. But the trick was that she had to use her profile as a teacher already, just to put my profile on her profile, if that makes sense, so that I could get traction, because she's already a teacher. A lot of people were scouting her page, so that's how I got recognized. And once that happened, within a space of a week, I just got all these offers coming in every single day, and that just changed the game for me.
Okay, so help me understand. Are we talking about individuals requesting you to teach them, or is it institutions requesting you to teach?
So how it usually works is you will not be approached by a school directly or an individual. You will usually go through an agency. So this is where it gets a bit sketchy and people get scared. So what the schools do, they outsource the searching part or the recruiting part to agencies. So you will first have to work with a certain type of agency, which will then give you offers to different schools. So now you need to decide for yourself, what do I want to teach? Do I want to teach kindergarten, primary, varsity? So lucky enough, for my first try, I got to teach university. So from the get-go. I could say it's lucky or not because it pays the least, but it's a better experience and a better, look on your resume. So how it worked for me, I got an agency. I got an offer to multiple agencies. So to broaden my opportunities, I just spoke to all of them and see who I clicked with the most. And when I found a good fitting agency, that's where I stuck with them. They got me offers to multiple schools, and that's where the university also just reached out to me.
Yeah, well, you sort of touched on it already, so I'll jump straight into it. When it comes to pay, what exactly should one be looking at?
So the pay is very good if you think about what entry-level graduates would get in South Africa. That's what you're looking at for a teaching position in China. So as I said, with universities, they do pay the least, because you do work the least amount of hours and the holidays are longer. If you remember when we were in university, you had like 2 months of holiday or something like that. So it's the same abroad. So you would look at around 16k if you're lucky, actually, because it starts around 15 to 19, I can say 15 to 19,000 rand for a university lecturer. And then when we go to your kindergartens, pay the most because, I mean, kids, energy, it's a lot of work. And kids, kindergarten pays the most. So there you'd also be looking around from, because most of them want to start at a base, right? So, wow, actually, 10,000 yuan, which would be like 20k, could be a base for a kindergarten. So you could be looking from 20,000 rand to 25,000 rand, and even more if you're lucky.
Okay. Well, I suppose when you're there teaching English, there's surely cross-cultural connections that happen.
Yep.
So how does that work? Do you also learn a bit of Chinese? Or is it Chinese? Mandarin?
Yes, Mandarin. Well, it's weird because every time I tell people here that, oh, I'm learning Chinese, they're like, oh, sorry, it's Mandarin. But no one in China says I'm learning Mandarin. We all just say Chinese. So yes, you are forced to, because of the culture, because of if you just want to get by and live a comfortable life, you have to learn the language, learn the culture, learn what mannerisms they have so that you don't offend certain, cultural views that they have. Yeah. So at the very beginning, I was not adamant about learning the language. I was excited to explore a new language, but it just seemed so hard. Yeah. So I was kind of resistant until I had to, because you go to the supermarket, you can't even buy bread because you don't know what bread is. They ask you if you want a plastic at the till, you can't even answer, so you have to carry your things out now because you didn't know how to say yes to a plastic, things like that. So I was forced to learn the language. I took like a bit of Mandarin classes. So I took a couple of classes every week I was learning, and that helped me to be able to just feel comfortable in, in the whole environment, because even my students, their level of English was very low, so I had to also kind of meet them halfway for them to actually come to my side, for us to have a mutual understanding as well.
Yeah, I think anyone that's watched Rush Hour would know Ni hao ma, shi shi ni.
Shi shi ni, yes. Basics.
I think before I move away completely from the topic of pay, what I do want to know is, so 16,000 rand in South Africa versus 16,000 rand in China. I mean, I know that money in different places means different things, and it goes different lengths. So I want to know, when you were earning that, what you were earning in China, was it easy for you to live there, spend, do what you needed to do to have fun, entertainment, and so on? And which one would you say is easier to spend the money in from a price perspective, economic perspective?
Definitely China, no lie. No lie. The thing is with China, also with the opportunity itself, whether you're teaching for a kindergarten, and I didn't touch on training centers because that's also another sphere that you can go into. Yeah. It's more intense because it's grueling hours, and you work for I guess sometimes people work for different schools because it's one training center that outsource their teachers. So whether you're working for kindergarten, training center, or university, they provide bulk of your living expenses. You have paid accommodation. They usually also pay for your flight, so maybe you will have to scrape up the money to get there. But when you're there and you've worked a length, maybe 6 months, they'll already cover what you paid to get there, and also give you money for a flight to come back home. So most of your costs are covered. And I mean, if you're not paying for electricity, you're not paying for rent, your money is literally coming into your pocket. That just gives you breathing room. You can do whatever. Entertainment is there, and also because you're in a foreign country, you just want to explore. It gives you the leverage to do that. So I must say that if I would maybe say earning that 16k here would not have changed my life so much, because here you have responsibilities, tax, there's rent, there's all these things. So there it was literally just coming to my pocket, which was a huge benefit. Yeah.
No, I mean that's it's really good. But I think your overall experience with China, because I think I'm one of those people, in my ignorant phase a few years back, I would have thought that the moment you walk into the country, you take your cell phone, delete all social media, family contact. I don't know, there's always been this bad, social media presence, so you tell us that's what happens once you're there. But having lived there, how is that? How is the social media space, YouTube and all those restrictions that come with it, how does that work?
So, like I said in the beginning, it's very important to find people that are already there that can guide you and tell you what you need to do. So, luckily enough, I had my amazing friends. Like Nuku helped me all the way. She's the one who also connected me to the friend who actually put my profile, out there. So she told me from the get-go, girl, these are the apps you need. Number one, don't even come here if you don't have this app. You need VPN. So VPN will allow you to access like your usual apps that we use in SA, like your Facebook, your YouTube, and all of that. So she gave me a heads up about everything that I need. I don't know what I would have done if I was doing this on my own, So I already, because I was getting feedback and I was getting, advice from people who are already there, it kind of calmed me down to know that, okay, this is what you're getting into. This is what you need to expect. The minute I landed and I was in the airport, obviously that VPN needed to go on because I couldn't text my family. Because also remember, when you're traveling, it's a long flight, no one can communicate with you, but they need to know that you're safe, you're not human trafficked, because no one believes these opportunities are real. So family just told me, girl, just don't get stolen, don't get human trafficked. So they just wanted to see me, arrive safely. And the moment I arrived there, nothing was working. My WhatsApp wasn't working, nothing. And so that's when I had already downloaded the VPN, put it on, and I was able to tell family. And already I had the apps that they use in China, like the Chinese WhatsApp, if I can say, which is WeChat. I was able to communicate with family to tell them I'm safe, I'm here, and everything is good. So for me, it's just that being aware that it's going to be a culture shock. Don't come there expecting, and I think that's one note I want to put in, that some people come back from this experience with a lot of negative reviews because they didn't prepare themselves mentally. They didn't go to say, I'm going to a foreign country that doesn't even speak English, that doesn't even use the apps that I'm used to, so they don't prepare themselves. Just go there prepared, knowing it's different. It will scare you, but if you're prepared, you will be able to adjust more easier.
And what would you say was your biggest, not stumbling block, but what took the most adjustment when you got to China?
Definitely the language. I won't even like the language, but beyond the language, I think it's also just being black in China. Being black in Asia is difficult, no lie. And I am like a fully African girl with an afro. You come there, you have your natural hair out, everyone wants to touch your hair. Everyone is speaking a language you don't understand, and it's like, sometimes you get angry. I've had times in the bus where they also just pull up their phones and take pictures and videos of you like you're an animal. So that gets really uncomfortable, and you need to know yourself. Have a very good identity, because when you get there and you start, I have a story actually. I part-time for a kindergarten once, and some of the kids have never been exposed to black people. So they're seeing a black person for the first time. I had 2 students in this one class. Every time they saw me, they cried. And I'm not talking about they cried for their dear life. And they always had to spend that class on the lap of the substitute teachers, just to say that she's not an animal, she won't bite you. Even when they come to touch you, they just and run away quickly, because they don't trust that some people will come rub your skin to see if it will come off. Is this chocolate, So those things kind of hit at your self-esteem a bit, where you go, next thing you're in your apartment, you're am I ugly? What is it that makes them react like this? Until you actually sit down to say, but for them it's also new. They're not used to you, so you also just need to introduce what being black is, introduce what your culture is. South Africa, for example, they think we're just running around here and we have monkeys in our backyards and all of that. So it's just you stepping up to also educate people about who you are, who we are as a people, where you come from as a nation. So I think that's also very important. Know yourself and just be prepared. It's gonna be hard.
As much as I want to feel really bad about it, I do have memories from childhood where in my grandmother's village where I grew up, when the first Indian family came to open their shop, we were the same. We literally looked at them yes, who are these people? And every day we go to that house and peep in.
Just want to see them.
So I think kids have an innocence. You can imagine it's probably just something new that they've seen.
And I love that you say that it's innocent, because some kids will ask you if your skin is made out of chocolate. Whereas if you look at maybe other people with bias or prejudice views, they think we're made out of I don't know what, but it stinks and it's something you can't touch. So kids are very innocent in that aspect, as you say.
What about the food?
So that one is tricky because I've always, as I said, I really do love the Asian culture. So before I fell into China, I was very about Korea and I explored some of the foods there.
Yeah.
And I've always loved Korean food. So I didn't know how I'd feel about Chinese food, but you know when people say like it's different when you're gonna order Chinese food in South Africa and you have it's very different, chef. You can taste more. I'm in China, so their food is so different. It takes a lot of getting used to, but because I think I was already excited about exploring new cuisine, for me it was just amazing. There are certain things I would advise don't eat. I've been offered blood because it is a delicacy for them, like goat's blood. They put it in these cubes, it looks like jelly, but it's blood. And amatumbi, you know, like we cook tripe for hours. You know, it stinks up the house and it just cooks until it's ripe, until it's ready. And they have this meal called a hot pot. So a hot pot is just literally you sitting at a table in a restaurant. In the middle of the table there's like a stove with you choose like your different types of water. It's either spicy or just mild water, and every side dish that comes is raw. So your meats, your vegetables, you just put it in the hot pot to cook a couple of minutes, and then you take it out and eat it immediately, dipping it in a sauce. So now the first time I had a hot pot, I see figamatumbo. I'm just like, guys, Mukhodu takes hours to cook. How am I expected to put it in for 3 minutes and take it out and eat? And then you see everyone doing it. Oh, it's nice. Taste it, taste it. You're just like, guys, Mukhodu. But then obviously these things are kind of thinly sliced, so you know it does cook faster. So yeah, some type of foods take a while to get used to, but you know the basics like noodles, fried rice. I stuck to the basic stuff, so I was not disappointed in that regard.
No, that's awesome. Okay, so tell me, now that you're back in South Africa, what are you still doing now that is maybe tied to, you know, the opportunity that you got in China?
Yeah, so I think the opportunity in China just changed the whole trajectory of my life, because I do believe as people we're just ciphers. We just go in a journey of self-discovery. I mean, going to China, as I said, it also plays a lot to your identity. I had to kind of stand firm in who I am, and it's so easy here in South Africa to say, okay, yeah, I'm a black woman, but it means more to say that in China and to really stand firm in it. So I had to come back and look at, I've gained so much experience there, and I don't want it to just be like, oh, it was a gap year, or I was just taking a break from life. How will that contribute to me moving forward career-wise in whatever I want to do next? So I looked at going back. I was really adamant about that, but because there were just a lot of blockages from me doing that, I was like, I can still teach English, but online now. So I moved to the online interface at a perfect time, I think, because then Corona happened and everything just blew up in that regard. So now currently I am teaching English online, and I think it's been an amazing opportunity because I've learned, I don't want to take away from China, but I'm learning so much more about myself now, having to be in a space where you're in a room by yourself. You are the one who's calling the shots. You have to decide, you know, what you're doing. So you're like basically leading your own way. Yeah. So it's teaching me a lot about what I can handle, can't handle, and what I can also achieve, just, you know, because this, I didn't know this could be a career, first of all. I did it because I was like, okay, I'm home, I need an income. What can I do part-time? And this literally from part-time became like a full-time thing that I'm really now enjoying and seeing other opportunities I can do and gain from this.
And who's your audience now? Who are the people you're teaching?
So I'm still teaching a lot of Chinese students, even though it's not because I was teaching a university. That university tried to get me back, but things didn't work out. So I'm currently teaching for multiple companies. Excuse me, so you could say I'm a freelance English teacher online. So what I do is right now I teach for a Chinese audience, a Russian audience, as well as, the run is a mix between Taiwan, Hong Kong, and you know the likes, and you know you can't call them countries, they're still part of China, you must respect. So yeah, so those are the audiences, you can say. And yeah, it's very different dynamics because it's still different cultures. So you're still getting to learn new things every day about the languages, because I mean, if you're going to teach them a language, you need to understand some nuances of their language that will help them adapt English, better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm learning a lot.
No, exciting. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to know, many facets. I've known you still when you were part of a dance team.
The good days.
I've known you throughout varsity. I've known you post that when you've now gone on to teach in China.
Yeah.
But of all that, what else is there to that you think people should know about?
There's a lot, but I think just the basic of it all, I just am a person who's all about growing. Growth for me is the biggest, I think, if you can call it value, you can have as a person. Look at where you are now, look at where you want to be, and look at where you've been, and kind of merge to say, how can all that I've done, where I want to go and where I am now, help me get there. So for me, it's all about just having a growth mindset in everything that you do. Never feel stagnant, because at some point, I think before I took the opportunity to teach in China, I felt so restricted by my career. I tried so hard to get, work within that sphere, because I'm like, it took me so many years to get this degree, it better pay off. So I had that mentality. And I took a year to apply, just trying to get jobs. Nothing was working out. Until I remember that day, I sat myself down. I was like, okay, what you're going to do is go into your emails, count all the rejections you've gotten from all the applications you've sent. If these rejections reach more than 20, this is a door that's not meant to open right now. Find a new avenue. So I literally sat down. It was hard. I mean, tears were shed. I was just like, it feels like you're being rejected by everyone at that point. Yeah. But I had to take that time to sit down. I counted all the rejections. There were more than 20, of course. And I was like, okay, let's try something else. And that's when I fully put myself into going to China. Coming back, same, to get into online teaching. I think 20 is a number for me, I don't know why. But it happened again where I applied to a lot of teaching jobs, but because I wasn't an online teacher, I was a classroom teacher. I didn't have the experience most of these companies wanted. Yeah. Again, I started applying to different companies. What did I get? More than 20 rejections again. And then I had to be like, am I closing this door or am I trying again? Luckily, that's when some of the, acceptances or the interviews came in where I was just like, okay, this is an avenue I can pursue. So yeah, for me, it's all about a growth mindset. So in every area of my life, I try to see how can I grow from this, what can I learn from this. And I think a part of me loves writing, poetry things, so I've always been into writing. I think that's one of the things that can help you have a better or a smoother journey into self-discovery. Journal, guys. It's important to just write down your thoughts so that you know who you are. Sometimes we think we are one thing, but out of perspective and analyzing your own thoughts, you realize that no, this is a path that is set for me that I must pursue, that will build me into that person I think I am. So yeah, I'm into writing, I'm into poetry, I'm into art, I'm into a lot of things, but all of these things come back to growth. Yeah. Just developing yourself.
Yeah, I think normally when I get to the end of these interviews, I ask what's the one thing that people should take away, but I think you've summed it up perfectly.
Definitely,
growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, the bit you talked about where you actually went through all the things that you applied to, it's a difficult pill for people to swallow. Because I can imagine when you spend all that time studying and you have to turn away from that bit, it can be extremely difficult.
It is.
But thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. This was very fun for me, so thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I actually quite short, but it was fun. Thank you.
And for everyone at home, thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And if you did, please do subscribe, please do like, please do leave comments if you have any questions for Thuli. I'll make sure she gets them. Thank you.